That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast.
The block is hot, 400 degrees G. Check the temperature, respect is what we need. Ease up, freeze up, you get left where you bleed. G's up, we got next to these streets. Damn, I'm really out here waiting on a clip emoji. Long nose, so I caught a fifth.
What's up? Welcome back to Faded Truth. Today I have Black Forever on
What
the
up?
show. You can see and hear him on the new movie Bully, The Dead Don't Die, coming out this 2020. What's up, Black? How you feeling?
What's going on? Big day, big day, big things.
Tell us about why you're excited.
I just dropped the album on the 1st. It's my third studio album. They played my single in LA today for the first time on Dash Radio,
And what's the single called?
it's called Walk Alone. We actually just released the video today.
All I wanted was my father's love. He ain't bother much. All I wanted was my mother's touch. But she couldn't do enough, so I was off to the streets. Seeing the coffin was normal to me. Going to war with the bloods made me see shit I ain't want to see. Yeah, I'm in my feelings half blue, cause my reparations passed through. But I keep it humble, want to pass through, cause most these rapper niggas ass too.
You have small acting parts in Bully?
Yeah, I'm scattered. I took somebody out in one scene. I was a goon. I guess I have the goon look. I was in a shootout scene where I think I got hit somewhere in my back, and there was another scene where I had a speaking role, but I don't know which part, because the movie is like 2 parts.
Right.
It's like 2 storylines, so I don't know
Okay.
in what storyline these scenes are in, but I'm pretty sure I'm in both storylines.
So is your name Black in Bully?
I didn't even have a name.
Okay.
I didn't even have a name. Even in the
Okay, so
speaking,
you're like
yeah.
extra,
I was like,
but not, because you had a
I was
speaker
like the
role.
mystery guy. Like nobody knows what I'm doing in these places. I told him, I said, hopefully we could take it and turn it into a spinoff, like the guy who was in the. That's what that guy was doing.
What would you say is your biggest character difference between the guy you played on Bully and you in real life?
The guy that I played on Bully was super quiet and didn't say much. He just stared at people, and that's not even me. That's not me at all. He was meant to stand there and look like a gangster.
So this is your first acting debut?
No, actually, I've acted with Alex before. He's literally the guy who helped me become a rapper when I was 14. Like, he knew my dad, and he had a studio, and I was like a young kid in the hood just running around. You know, one day they were like hanging out, and they were all like rapping, because Alex actually used to be a rapper. He said, hey, you know, you're good. You know, you have something. You should come to my house on Sunday. And it's been history ever since. But I've known him since I was like 11. So it's family.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you guys have all these connections with each other in the movie too. Like, it's just all love.
But there's like people who are like real family in that movie, like friends that I introduced them to from my neighborhood. We come from 2 different neighborhoods, but like it's a big thing for at least for where I'm at in the Bronx.
Are you lighting up over there?
I was waiting for you.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is an interview.
So you grew up in the South Bronx?
Yes, Tremont Avenue section.
So you were just running the streets growing up, and it kind of gave you a space to start like working on.
He gave me the time. I didn't know I could do it. We like kind of like freestyled in the hood one time, and he was like, yo, you're good. Like, did you write that? I'm like, no, I've never even like done this before. And he was like, yeah, you're like you have something. Yeah, and that was that. I went to his house that Sunday, and I never left. I thought I was gonna be rich like a week later. I stopped going to school. I stopped doing don't stop going to school, but it was a different time. I'm a little bit older, so you could get away with it back in the day.
So you wrote the whole soundtrack for Bully, or?
No. Like 6 records I'm on, and then there's obviously the records that are being played throughout the movie. I'm actually with the executive producer of the album right now. He's sitting right next to me. And
hey,
how you doing?
That's DJ Junebug.
How you doing?
Good.
What's your favorite scene that you saw in Bully, even if you weren't in it?
King Kong. I was actually one of the guys who helped. I held him down when he got killed by Lyrical. It was fun. Like, I didn't know how much actually went into it. We were there for hours, like hours.
You're just doing the same scene over and over.
Same scene over and over again until we got it. Of course, they were kind of like freestyling and going off the head with it for certain things. He was adding his own things. Some things didn't work. Like one time we got like too rough, in the scene. It started getting real. We were like, I don't know if it was pure frustration because we were there for so long or whatever. We were just trying to make it look good.
Where do you get the name Block from?
I used to have a different name, and it was like corny because it was really like my graffiti name. So like I used to do graffiti, and it was Grims, like Grimz. So that's what they used to call me, but I was always the kid that was always outside. Everybody tried to figure out if I ever went home. So I have a cousin he's a rapper now. He's actually a pretty well-known battle rapper in New York. He was like, "Oh man, you always on the block." Like, and I was like, "Yup, that's me." And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, that's good." And he said, "That's gonna be your name, Block." And that was literally it. And I've had different variations along the years. Block the Butcher, Block Montana, Block this. So I said, you know what? As a joke, they was like, you always change your name. And I was like, so I said, you know what? I'm forever Block. So it was just Block forever. And it was kind of like a joke almost.
Wait, do people tell you look like French Montana?
All the time. I actually grew up with,
I just realized it when you said French.
Now we grew up together. Like that's actually a friend of mine. Like we went to junior high school together. We come from the same
Oh,
neighborhood.
shit. Okay,
Yeah.
so I know you opened for him. So is that why? Because you already knew him?
Well,
Or-
that actually happened on my own. Like, I was already making moves, doing my own thing, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm performing." He was like, "Oh yeah," like he wasn't even that famous. He wasn't like French Montana now. He was like, he was at the time. At the time he was still running around with he was like at the end of when he was running around with Akon, and yeah, we did a show together and we chopped it up. And he's came to Orlando a few times and we hung out.
Nice. Do you produce too?
I have, but I'm more of a writer.
Okay.
I write.
Do you
I
write
write.
your own music?
I write my own music, but I also write for other people.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Is it like life? Is it other people's lives?
I came from a really rough childhood. That's why I like Alex. He was a big part of my childhood. He literally he took me out the streets.
Wow.
Although we were living in the ghetto, but like he gave me something else to do with my time. So I grew up with a lot of no dad around, paying, the mom really not involved. Not that she wasn't involved, she was busy. You can do but so much in a city like New York, where when you gotta pay that expensive ass rent and go out and work and do what you gotta do, sometimes the kids gotta get left home alone. And
Right.
I was a product of that. The older people were decent, so they always looked out. They knew my mom was at work. They feed me and things like that. Pretty much that's like my inspiration. You could kind of hear it in my music all the time. I don't hold any grudges. I let everything go. But my music gives me a chance to express how I used to feel, and how maybe in and out sometimes I might still feel now.
So you think music is like your therapy?
Pretty much that. Like my inspiration to music is just letting out. I don't want to sound corny and say pain. Easiest way for me to transfer my emotions.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I'm doing in my podcast, is like transferring my emotions, and it feels so good.
If it feels good while
Yeah.
you're doing it, then it's what you're supposed to be doing. Like my entire album, maybe minus like 2 records that I believe I did here, I've recorded them all in my room. My little brother, who's actually on the Walk Alone song with me, like my real little brother, he went to school for audio engineering. So I would record it at my house and email him the files, and he'll mix it and master it for me. He learning how to, it was the same thing, like you learning how to edit and put things together and chop things up is pretty much the same thing I did. When you like something, you go get it.
Hustle, don't quit. You've been on 3 record labels.
Yes.
We got Murder Inc., Rough Riders, and Bottom Line Entertainment.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say you've been on them, do you mean that you've written? Have you your songs up rapping?
When I turned 18, Murder Inc. was like a development deal situation. They thought I was good enough to keep around, so nobody else would take me. That's what the whole artist development thing is.
Okay.
They're gonna, they see potential. They're gonna grab you before somebody else does, and they work with you. I mean, not to talk shit about them, they didn't work with me. Like I was there, and I did all the hanging out. I was in the studio. Big artists would leave. They let me stay. They'd buy the studio for 2-3 days, but nobody was there all day for 2-3 days. So that was my time. Like me and all the other younger artists that they had with them, we would record our records there after everybody was done, like Ja Rule. Honestly, I never met Ashanti. I met everybody else in the group except for her the whole time I was there, and I was there for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I didn't meet her not once in person.
Yeah, Murder Inc. Who was on Murder Inc.? It was Ja Rule. That's all.
Ja Rule, Ashanti, Cadillac Ty, Black Child. Those guys, the rappers, were more famous in New York. The only 2 that were nationally known were Ja Rule and Ashanti.
Rough Riders.
So Rough Riders was
the Locks, Rough Riders.
That's Locks, DMX, all of them.
Okay, 'cause that
Drag
was
On,
my-
Eve.
I love Jadakiss. I always loved
Yeah.
Styles P, and I always
Yeah.
loved a lot. So
Definitely, they were. See the situation with that after Murder Inc. got indicted by the federal government. I don't know if you remember anything about that.
no.
So it was big news. It was like big news. So they asked us, say, you wanna stick around until this is over? And I had a manager at the time. We said no, and they just pretty much said okay. Like, I'm on Cypress, which is like 138 in Cypress Avenue in the Bronx. Is like a place that nobody wants to go unless you live there. So I'm hanging out there with family. Come to find, I have a cousin who's a motorcycle rider. He's with the Rough Riders, the actual motorcycle group, like the motorcycle club.
Yeah.
But he's very well known, and they all know him. And I started giving music. He started giving it to them, and I met up with. I rap battled some kid in Hunts Point in the Bronx, in front of the two owners of Rough Riders, and I tore his head off. And after that, I just started running with. It was the same thing. Like it's like when you're the new guy or the new person at work. They kind of like keep you around. I wasn't like super involved. That's where people who get signed and don't go anywhere, those are those people. Like, they sit there and wait for them. Like me, I made my own moves. Like, even though I was running with them, I was always here, and I was talking to everybody. I didn't care who it was. And so I made my own things happen. Like, out of those situations, I got a song with T-Pain. I have a song with Shine. I don't know if you remember Shine, the guy who shot up the club.
Hell yeah.
The dude who shot up the club with Puff Daddy and J-Lo back in the day. I got a song with Wiz Khalifa before he was anybody. So I some things came out of it, The guy you see next to me, DJ Junebug, pretty much a legend in this city. He started a movement. I've always ran with. You ever heard of a rapper named Fred the Godson? He's like in the Jadakiss, Styles P level in New York City. He passed away last month from COVID-19.
Wow.
And I've known him since I was like 14. And he's been a staple in New York hip hop for years. I ran with him pretty much, but I was never actually signed. It was more like just a family thing.
Damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was a good guy, man. This COVID thing took over and it fucked up a lot of things. We're still here and we're still working.
Every day you wake up is a blessing. That's how I gotta look at it.
We're gonna put out a Block and Fred the Godson EP, all the songs that we've done together over the years, and all the proceeds are gonna go to his wife and his kids.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully that does well.
So what's your favorite performance that you've done?
Honestly, it was probably the last one. We did a big show here in Florida, and I hadn't lived here in like almost 4 years. And we started telling people I'm gonna come back and perform. I'm gonna come back to the city and perform. And it was the album release party of another friend who's also on the soundtrack, who also works with Junebug. He's from the Bronx. Also, his name is Pete Powers. It was his album release party, and we got a lot of people to come out. We had a place called the Rosen Center. It's a big place out here. The sponsor I got was crazy. Everything was better. Like, my music was better. I had better stage performance. I knew where I wanted to be, what I want to sound like. It was like my I finally made it performance. So that's why I like that one.
That's like a milestone.
Yeah, it was that one performance where just everything just worked out. Like, there was nothing wrong.
Can you just spit 16 for me right now?
Right now? I grew up a savage life. I'm a Commodore. When you live in this big, can't walk through common doors. I was sore. So if time flies, your boy on lift. A heat maker, I'm living mine like an arsonist. Cartridges make your conflict for conflict, they moving karma. Karma will rape your conscience for comments made on the corner. Artery to the streets, my heart pump what it wanna. Honor amongst the martyr where Congress can be Obama. Jobs paying enough just to keep your fan from starving. Starving in movie drama, you bother, don't play the part then. Bartered with Bogart as I'm smarter to watch the world spin. I'm feeling like Pac with a gun, me and my girlfriend.
Hey.
Yeah. All right.
Now you have new listeners. What's the top 3 songs you're going to go tell them to listen to that you think is going to show them who you are?
We're talking about like the album that I just dropped. I'd probably have them listen to Walk Alone, Sway. The outro is called the name of the song is called Who Cries. I took a reference from the movie Antoine Fisher with Denzel Washington.
What's your favorite collabs that you've done?
One of my favorites was obviously Fred the Godson, only because his writing, the way he does it, his process was super funny. Like, not funny, he was a friend of mine, so like I can say it was like super funny. It's just bugged out. You don't think that the things he says are gonna come out of a person that looks like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway. So Fred was a
Hey, I get that a lot too.
I did a song with Genuine.
Oh yeah.
But I was like super young. I was like 17, like 18.
Damn.
And that one was a good one.
I love me some Genuine.
He gave me a ring. You know, like he like took a ring off his hand and was like, "Here, this is for you." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I had that ring for a long time until I had to get rid of it. You know,
Launch out.
hard times. You know, but yeah, I got a ring for a song. I mean, I didn't get paid for it. I was real young, and they just kind of took a liking to me. I was young.
But you were
skinny.
probably like were you starstruck or were you like chilling?
No, because I don't know. I never really get starstruck. Like I haven't met somebody who so far in person who I'm like, oh my god, you know, like that's this person. Like
So
I'd
if
be
you
like,
could
hey,
collab with anybody, who would you want to collab with?
I've always wanted to do a song with Busta Rhymes. As crazy as he's like in my top 5. He's like one of the reasons I rap like very hype sometimes, and I can rap
Wow.
really fast. And
Yeah, I love them.
but I would definitely do a song with Busta Rhymes. But I was always like the Jay-Z fan. You know, I like street talk music, numbers, math, things. You know, like Pusha T. I've always wanted to do a record with him.
Who's your favorite actors?
I've always felt like the only person who could like make me like emotional was always like Denzel. Like not make me emotional, but like give me that like, oh my god, like
Right.
he was one. And Helen Hunt, she was in like in a bunch of old movies. I always found her interesting for some reason. And she's not like a super like a dime. She's not like Charlize Theron. She's super regular. Like she look like somebody's 3rd grade teacher.
Right.
But for some reason when she acts, I believe her. I don't know why.
So you just dropped your new album.
Tremont Ave tape, and it's everywhere.
What do you have coming up now? Are you just working on promoting that album? Or do you
For right now, like
okay.
now in this time right now, yes, I'm everything I'm shooting. Besides, we'll be shooting a video for off the soundtrack and about me.
Yeah. You get left where you bleed, Jesus. We got next to these streets. Damn, I'm really out here waiting on the clip emoji. Long nose, so I go to Fifth Ginobili.
Besides that, everything that I'm shooting right now is for the album. The album only has 9 records on it. It's technically, I wanted an EP, but it's technically an album because the amount of songs. Once you go over like, what is it, like 6 records or something?
6 records.
Yeah, once you go over 6 records, it's basically considered an album. I'm gonna shoot a video for everything on it. It's only 9. I mean, 2019, I probably put out like 13 videos, so it's not gonna be an issue to put out 9. Then after that, we're dropping the Fred the Godson and Black EP. And then I have one more album that I'm working on right now. It's secret. I'm working with this producer from the West Coast in Oakland. So
you get the East and West Coast vibes?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make an impact this year. Things seem to be working.
I feel like 2020 has been a good year for most people that have been grinding.
Oddly,
But
I feel bad saying it sometimes because of all this shit that happened, but it's like it really has.
It's just been a great it's like the year of vision for real. 2020.
Who knew? All it took was 3 months to make everybody stay home for 3 months. Who knew?
We could have done this shit 10 years ago.
I would have did quarantine for 2 years before I.
What's your best life advice that you would give to anybody?
Don't let life stress you, because I've seen stress kill people. I've seen stress make people kill themselves. Stress, things are not that serious. You don't need to walk around with an attitude all day for no reason. What you got going on in your home, either get out of that situation or leave it there. Just don't stress. Like I was living in New York and I never even honked the horn. I was like, it's like you know what? Go ahead. When I first got here, I was 21. I was like so New York. Like it was like I was ready for the action, and you learn here. You start to go so much, and you realize nobody's ever like when you're the only one always trying to hang out. There's a problem. Just don't
calm
stress.
down a lot.
Yeah. I'm focused now. That's why I feel like that's why the music and everything is falling into place. I'm not so worried about everything else anymore. Well, all the non-important stuff.
So what do you do for your mental relaxation?
I sit in my car with music and stuff, or I'll listen, I'll write, or I'll listen to beats, or I'll go through it, or I'll just be on my phone, like whatever. Even if I'm on IG or whatever, I feel like the only time I'm like super at peace is like when I'm sitting in my car for some reason. I don't know why. I'll be in my house and I'll just walk out, go to my car, smoke, put on music, end up being on my phone. Next thing you know, I've been sitting in my car for 3 hours, and I just wasted a half a tank sitting in front of my house. It's happened. So I can't tell you how many times I've killed almost a whole tank of gas in one sitting.
All right, Black, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Do you
you
have
for having me.
anything to say before we exit?
We were talking about a movie, but I think you became like my counselor for about like 14 minutes. But other than that, it was great. When Bully comes out, support it. When the soundtrack comes out, support it. My album is out now. Support it. You know, there you go. I'm sorry, I'm a rapper. I had to do it. I want everybody to support each other and everybody get some money.
Word. All right, well, we'll see you in the upcoming movie, Bully, the Dead Don't Die. We're excited to see you, Black. Thanks for being
Definitely.
here. Until next time, guys.
Me, my
Peace
mother,
out.
and my brother. The
Alright.
stove in the kitchen was heat for the winter. Refrigerator was the cold in the summer. 1900 block of Mapes Ave. Getting money, shit is straight cash.